Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Keep Fantasy Great podcast. I'm your host, as always, and your commissioner. Today we have a special episode for you. I'm going to get into your power rankings, and then I'll bring in some special guests for a few special segments. One brand new segment with a brand new guest. Stay tuned for that, but first, let's get right into the power rankings. At number 1, I got Bartus. No surprise here, our only 2-0 team, second in points. We said it last week and we'll say it again. When you have the number 1 QB, you have the first overall pick in running back, you have number 1, number 2 tight ends, and some emerging stars at wide receiver with Amon St. Brown, Jahan Dotson. This team is a force to be reckoned with and will continue to be for the year. At number 2, we got Dhruv. Dhruv took a tough loss this past week, but still ranks number 1 in points so far. And Pat Mahomes is looking great. Aaron Jones had a nice little breakout game. The running backs are starting to come together with Gibby getting all the playing time. The Jets running backs will start a little bit of a 1-2 punch. Will start to get there. A nice breakout starring Garrett Wilson. And Cooper Kupp is the man in Los Angeles. At number 3, we got Josh. Josh, third in points, took a tough loss this week, but one of those losses where it's not really much you can do when your opponent puts up over 170. Josh's team's still solid. His biggest question mark into the year was the running back position, if Saquon Barkley will hold out, and if he can get an emerging star at running back 2, and those things have both come true. Saquon Barkley is getting over 80% of snap time in New York, plus he's getting a lot of volume. Miles Sanders finally looks like a competent running back, and A.J. Dillon in Green Bay is the only option. With Pittman out, you knew this team would struggle just a little bit, but the wide receivers are there, just didn't have the weeks last week. It'll come through for Josh moving forward. At number 4, and I'll admit I was completely wrong last week, ranked 10th last week, I have Kyle Cactus Bartus. I was completely wrong with this team. I think a win like that, where CMC has yet to really dominate like we've seen CMC do in the past, is really impressive. I think the biggest concern here is obviously that running back 2 spot, but with some maybe emergence with Kenneth Walker, he might be able to solve that out, but I could see a trade or a nice free agent acquisition in the future for Cactus. I like him at 2. His wide receivers are there. Tyreek Hill connection with Tua will be interesting to see how that holds up when the schedule gets a little tougher. They face Buffalo this week, but Drake London, a future star in this league. Cactus team is real solid, and I was completely wrong last week. I got him at 4. At number 5, we have Shijin. A dominating win last week. It'll be interesting to see how he holds up. Shijin's wide receivers are loaded. Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Curtis Samuel with a great pickup. Christian Kirk has been a stud so far this year. The running backs, obviously a little bit of a concern with only Mixon and Kamara really on the roster. The running back 2 is wide open with Kamara injured, but if those two can be healthy and playing, that's one of the best 1-2 punches in this league at the running back position. At number 6, with a little bit of surprise here, I have myself. I kind of wanted to drop me lower, but looking at all in all said and done, the only 0-2 team to be at the 6th spot, I'm still 5th in points. I think I got, a top QB in Justin Herbert. He's been a stud so far since coming into the league. The 1-2 punch in Cook and Chubb. Dalvinco couldn't get it going, mainly due to Kirk Cousins, but last week seemed more of like a down week for everyone. Devontae Adams didn't really get involved. A.J. Brown couldn't just because they were up by so much. But I think this team's solid from top to bottom with really good depth. The only question mark in tight end was a nice little stack here possibly with Jerry Evans and Justin Herbert. So cannot get much worse for me in the commissioner. With the new overhaul in management and front office, can we get some improvement going and maybe bump up a little bit with a win this week? At number 7, I have our reigning champ in a little bit of a championship hangover so far through 2 weeks. Last in points, I have him 7 just because I still feel like this has been the floor for Greg. His guys haven't really been there yet. Debo hasn't really gotten super involved. Austin Eckler isn't doing much with his touches. And he's not seeing as much time as you had seen last year. I think the touchdowns will come, which will help this team. The James Conner injury is a little bit of a question mark, especially with that depth in that flex spot. I think it's a lot of uncertainty with some very low floors with possibly some high ceiling games. With Jalen Hurts on this roster, though, I think it could compete, as you saw on Monday night, with a nice, huge performance from Jalen Hurts, really stamping a nice little stamp of approval on that one. Keenan Allen is injured, so I think that will only help Greg moving forward. Brian Robinson on the IR coming back might be nice. Team is good. We've yet to really see it in action so far. As I've said before, he's last in points. But I think when you're last in points, you can only score more than you have. At 8, I have the competitor that just lost to Greg. We have Pereira. I think Pereira in this spot, it's really mainly due to those wide receivers. You saw last week when the running backs can't get it done, your wide receivers aren't going to pick up the slack here. Brandon Cooks, Elijah Moore, not really a 1-2 punch you want. Gabe Davis being questionable really hurts this team because I think Gabe Davis is solid and could always be good for a nice 4 for 70, 80 and a touchdown. The running backs on this team, though, are very solid, but like I said, if they can't get it done, your wide receivers aren't picking up that slack for you. So it's a very highly revolved around the running back core of this team, which I think is solid. Swift only had like 7 touches, but was still a top running back on the week. I think he'll get more touches than that, and he'll be one of the best running backs in this league moving forward. Javonte has yet to really find his stride, but that's just a Broncos offense thing. Team is solid. Needs a little wide receiver depth and needs a more star-powered wide receiver room. But we know Pereira, and he likes to deal. And with all that running back depth, we see a deal in the future that could maybe propel Pereira into the top. At number 9, with no disrespect, it's Steve. Steve beat me, but I got him at 9. I have him at 9 because you go running back heavy early in the draft, and none of them have shown up yet. It's starting to be a little bit cause for concern. Zeke looks like he lost a step. We know how the Josh Jacobs train goes, and Derrick Henry has yet to score double-digit points. But when you could be 1-1 and your first-round pick in Derrick Henry hasn't even touched double digits, you know there's good things to come, as we think that Derrick Henry will be able to eventually pick it up. He's gotten off to slow starts before. Stephon Diggs has been an absolute beast, and it's weird to say this, but I like his wide receiver duo better than any of his running back duo. Even though he went running backs in the 4 of the first 5 picks, I like Michael Thomas. He's been solid. Stephon Diggs is a stud. Joe Burrow also with a little bit of a championship hangover. You know, I like to fade the championship, the Super Bowl losers. But Steve's team's there, and it has the pieces to kind of propel him a little bit more and get some wins. He's going to need a lot more, though, from his running back room, as you can't really rely on a 45-point performance from Diggs every week. At number 10, I have Emmett. This list was incredibly tough, I think, from 4 through 10. I felt like a lot of people were interchangeable. I wouldn't say being at 10 is a disrespect. It's tough. It was tough to put these teams where they were. But at 10, I have Emmett. I think when you get that Lamar Jackson performance, you get that Rashad Bateman stack, and you get that huge outburst, you hope to win. And when you can't put it together and you didn't squander over 130, it kind of says a lot about the rest of your roster. I think it's tough with the James Robinson ETN stack going on, because I think James Robinson's way more involved in ETN. And ETN, you don't want to have to play. An injury to Jerry Jeudy hurts this team a lot. You saw it with Devontae Smith, where he was not involved, then involved again on Monday night. Will it be like that all year, where he's kind of going 50-50 with his involvement? TJ Hawkinson has struggled. Najee Harris has yet to find the end zone and has also struggled a lot so far. It'll be interesting to see if he can get Najee Harris going on Thursday night against Cleveland, which would be a huge improvement to this team. I think Jamar Chase will be fine once the Bengals can kind of figure it out a little bit. And hopefully Cam Akers getting some more touches and being more involved helps. But it was still Darryl around the goal line. But I got Emmett at 10. So to recap this all, I got Bartus at 1. Dhruv at 2, Josh at 3, Kyle at 4, Shijin at 5, Nick at 6, Greg at 7, Pereira at 8, Steve at 9, Emmett at 10. That is my power rankings. Today I want to welcome in our special guest of the show, Dhruv Parmar, the CEO, creator, owner of the website. Welcome in, Dhruv.
Hi, Nick. Thanks for having me. Thanks for doing this special segment with me.
Of course, and that special segment is going to be ranking all of your guys' team names. Now, I'm not going to be partaking in these rankings. It's going to be Drew's rankings of your team names. I may chime in if I, see myself fall down. But other than that, we'll let Drew kind of kick us off here with number 10.
Yeah, so first I just want to let everyone know that, fantasy team, name rankings. They are all my opinion, but there is a criteria I'm using. So
Oh,
number one, I went for like relevance.
okay.
Is it will people understand what they were going for, if it's a joke or not? Number two, is it based off a player? I like it when you name your team off a player on your team. And is that player even good or not? That also helps. And
Okay.
creativity. Did you think of it or did you look it up online? You
Yeah.
know,
Did you
so I
did you
like
take
I
it
like
easy
creative.
out when you just hit? Is it one of the
Yeah.
top 10
So
names on Google when you type
yeah,
in
we don't want
fantasy
we don't
names of
want
2022?
we, we don't want my Balzac Ertz. We're tired of
Yeah.
that. Let's do something new.
Be
So starting
original.
off on number 10. Number 10, I have Pereira with Promised Land.
Mm,
Now, we've seen that before many times,
all of
and I
last
don't
year.
know. I've never been to the Promised Land, so I'm not sure if I can even relate. But also, he's never been to the Promised Land, so we'd like to see something new.
Oof, low
There's,
blow.
it's not really relevant. It's not really relevant to me or a player. So I think he has some good names that he could switch it up for. Hopefully, we'll see that later on in the year.
Should be taking shots at already.
Uh, hey, this is personal, all right? Team names are personal to me.
I'm
At
saying
number
it.
9, we have you, Nick, with Welcome to the New Era.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's not based off a player name, so that kind of
Drags me
doesn't
down.
sit well with me. So, do you want to explain what's the era? Is the era going winless this year?
No, so actually it came to me when I was angrily driving home from work after Diggs' huge performance on Monday night, and I was listening to a
Three
song
tutties.
called "The New Era," um, and it just inspired me that, you know what, we're changing things up. We're rolling different now. Coming after that 0-2 start, I was cooking up with Kamish. Would that
Yeah,
have been higher on your list if I was still cooking up with Kamish?
I think it might have been lower because you've done a lot of names with Commish. I'm a
Exactly.
little
Yeah.
tired of it.
No
We get it.
originality
We
with my
get it.
team
You're the
names.
commissioner. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But it's the new era for me, and that's okay.
okay,
If
good
I'm
song.
ninth in team names, but I could jump up to first in the league, then that's okay with me.
That's a good way to look at it. At number 8, we have Bartus, who actually changed his name today.
I
He
did
went
see
with the
that.
heavy package.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what he means by that.
No
I'm
idea.
not sure if it's because he took 2 tight ends and he got Josh Allen, a big boy,
Oh,
and
the
he
heavy
does go by
set.
big body, and it also does
Oh,
sound a little naughty. It does sound a little naughty. So
I
you
kind
don't
of
really
like it
understand.
now.
Yeah. So it makes me think. So, but that's come like, do I understand what he means by it?
Yeah, a
So
little
that's why I have him at
confusing.
8. Maybe if you explained it, I would rank it a little differently.
We'll get his opinion
Number
later.
7, yeah, hopefully. At number 7 we have Sijin. He has T. Um, it's based off T Higgins. Like, it's the guy that good? No, and it's just something that's so dumb that it makes you laugh, which is why I have him ranked at 7. And it's Sijin. Like, I don't know. I feel like he thought of this by himself, which is cool.
He did.
But
Definitely original, but
definitely original. But it's just 6 letters. It's just fun. I don't
it's
know.
simple.
I have
It's
nothing else
simple.
to add on. Yeah, simple precision. But I'm happy he based it off a player, which is nice to see. Props to Sidge.
Mm-hmm.
All right, at number 6, we have Josh with Olive Garden. Now, do I think he thought of that by himself? No. Is the player? He's had 2 decent games, but he hasn't really broken out yet. So it's nice not seeing Country Breakfast for the first time in 27 years.
Big
So I'll give him
wins.
props on that. I did remember sending a text message in the group chat saying if he had Team Warren, I would have ranked him higher than 10 because he's been going by Country
Country
Breakfast so
breakfast.
often. Yeah, and so
That
we're so tired of that.
that's worse than the
So
commish one.
yeah, might be. It might be. But thank you, Josh, for actually picking a player on your team. It's great to see. At number 5, we have Greg with Finding Debo. Another one that, might owe thanks to Google. But this one does kind of hit home with me because
Mm-hmm.
we all know how I feel about Debo. And fun fact, Finding Nemo was the first movie my parents took me to see in theaters
Oh,
in 2003. So, it's a good name. I don't have a problem with it.
all right. Finding Debo.
At Finding Debo. Hopefully he can find the end zone soon
Oh,
for Greg. He's going to need
not
it.
finding the end zone.
At 4, I put myself. I changed it to C cup. Little wordplay there. I did think of this by myself.
Solid.
I don't. Little. It has to do with a certain body part. So we won't need to get more detail on that.
Oh, but the package
let's go on
was
to the next
too
one.
explicitory, but your C cup reference. Okay, and we're talking letter count. We only see 5 letters there.
Yeah,
but he got 6 and got knocked down a peck.
Hey,
little favoritism.
Maybe it's a little biased. Maybe it's biased because he's one of the best players in the league, and I based it off that. So
Move on from Josh.
I didn't put myself at number 1. All right, at number 3, we have Cactus with How I Met Cap Your Mother. I'm not sure if he thought of that by himself, but I do give him props on picking one of the elite shows that I've ever seen, and that most people should have ever seen.
I think all of us.
But DK does kind of stink, so that's why I wouldn't have him. I would have him a little higher if DK wasn't so ass.
Yeah.
But good name, Kyle. I'll enjoy it.
Solid.
And number 2, we have I Am the One Who Knocks. Oh. Now, is Dawson Knox, the number 1 guy in the league? No, but what I do like is Steve updated his picture to match his team name, which is cool. No one else has updated their pictures. He put emphasis on the am, which is cool. He has that in all caps, and he has an exclamation point at the end. So proper grammar, good emphasis. I love the team name. Hopefully Dawson Knox, finds the end zone every week now.
So far, he's not the one who's been knocking.
Yeah, he is not.
Dawson Knox is not the danger.
Not knocking. So hopefully he'll be the one who knocks in the future. Go. And number 1, I helped Emmett. I gave him this team name on the day of the draft.
More favoritism. Okay.
So
I see the
pat myself on the back. Nothing but a Najee thing. I would recommend you change the spelling because it's not right. And it's not the correct way that Dr. Dre spelled it.
How should it be?
It should be nothing with a U and Thang instead of thing. So Emmett, I know we all know Emmett's the gangster of the fantasy league. So, this fits well with him. But, we're waiting for Najee to actually break out. But I think it's really good wordplay and a very good song if you haven't listened to it. Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre.
I believe the reference is nothing but a G thing for those that don't understand it. If you didn't understand it, that's where it comes from.
Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, give it a listen.
All right.
But yeah, those are my top 10 rankings.
That concludes Drew's top 10 name rankings. If anyone changes their name, if we get enough name changes, we might bring this segment back later in the year. Maybe do an end of year review on team names. If we get some changes, I know. If you're in the top half, you might be all right. I got a good team name, but us folks in the bottom half, maybe we'll start thinking about something different. But Drew's top 10 rankings for team names: number 1 was Emmett, number 2 was Steve, number 3 Kyle, number 4 was Drew himself.
Myself.
Number 5, who was number 5?
It was Greg, Finding
Debo. 6 was Shijin. 7 was
Josh. 6 was Josh. 7
was Shijin. I'm butchering it. You got the rest. 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah. 8 was Bartus. 9 was you, Mr. Commissioner, and 10 was Pereira.
Hey, let us know who you guys think your favorite team name is.
Yeah.
But without that, we'll pass this on to our next segment. There's another segment for this pod that we wanted to do, but due to faults of my own, weren't able to record it. Couldn't get the time set up. But that'll complete this episode podcast. Today we looked into the power rankings and we brought in Dhruv as our special guest to kind of go through your guys' league names and kind of rank them and his thoughts on them. But thanks for watching, and as always, keep fantasy great. Till next time.